This is April Colby with my CK Special Events, and I'm here at Wambo with Mr. Neil Koffel, who is manager of boats here at Wambo. Neil, how many boats do you think we have here this year?
We're going to have 62 boats in right now. It's a little down from usual, but we have a really great selection, especially with the big Bernadine coming in as a showstopper for everybody. We have a nice selection of small boats coming in this morning across the river, the outboards, the little racers, and on this side we have many Chris crafts, which is, well, it was made just over in Algonac, so this area is quite a Chris craft area. Okay, and we have some unusual boats, or we have some unusual names too on some of the boats. You know, the boaters are kind of strange. Briefly Usich, and I didn't pronounce that right. And we had a contest on that last year, and it meant something about clean water, which is kind of an oxymoron here. But overall, we put the larger boats. We have them from 53 feet, 85 feet, right on down to 13 feet. A really good selection.
How long have you been manager of boats working with Wambo?
47 years. Actually, about the actual manager, I've been 8 years manager, and I've been with the Wambo committee about 10 years or so. It's been quite an experience, but afterwards you sit back and say, well, that was nice.
Now, have you noticed a big change in the way Wambo's been running in the past few years, or has it pretty much been consistent?
Well, really, we have to keep up to times. It's kind of difficult. We call this a wooden boat show now. We have brand new built wooden boats, so that to keep the boats, the show still a wooden boat show, we allow the brand new ones in. And there is the option of going to a complete antique show where we would have old fiberglass, and it may happen one of these years, but right now we're still trying to keep it with the wooden boats. There's a beautiful one over here, a 24-foot double ender that a fellow built in 2004, and he would even take you for a ride if you wanted to get some pictures on the river, Ron Armstrong. So it's we have to keep up with the times. We try to anyway, without getting too far ahead.
So, beautiful town of Wallaceburg. I noticed the docks. Have you guys had to do a lot of work downtown to try to get it ready for Wambo?
Oh yeah, Chatham-Kent really helps out. They get right busy cleaning all the downtown area. We get a full volunteer setup of people, maybe 100 or so, about a week before. Scrub the town right down, and Chatham-Kent's done a great job. As far as the committee goes, we've provided a lot of the spiles out here and helped paint them over the years. Some of the money that we've made, that's what we put back in. We don't make a lot of money because it's a completely free show, but it is very expensive to put on, and if it wasn't for volunteers, it just wouldn't happen. So
essentially, it's all about the volunteers, I'm hearing, eh? Now, how many volunteers do you think actually make Wambo what it is?
Well, there's about 25 of us basic managers and directors, but it ends up probably about 200 overall, and that's a number that varies year by year, and you know, if we get volunteers, that type of thing. So there is a lot of volunteers involved to get it going and keep it going. So we like to say we're the most important, you know, the managers and that, but you know, everybody has an important role.
Now, what do you expect turnout to be this year, roughly?
The turnout? Overall, I think with the weather we've got, it could possibly be another 30,000 person year. We'll run in that area 25 to 30,000 people visiting. This afternoon it's going to be horrendously busy, so it's a good thing for the town. Maybe our last industry.
So you're pretty much, let me think, no, even more than quadrupling the population of Wallaceburg in one weekend, eh?
Oh yes, yeah, it happens. People just love the wooden boats. They love the antique cars. There's a good group of them come back every year. The fire trucks, they put on quite a nice display. The antique motorcycles, and what else do we have? Oh, the soapbox derby that's been added, and all keeping up with the times. We have lawnmower races on Sunday. I've never seen them. I've just been dead tired after this event. It takes me about, I run about 2,000 hours in work over the year plus, and most of the directors and managers do, but we have tried to keep it a fun show, really, for the boaters. They don't have to be pristine. I'd like to have somebody bring one that's just rotten and bring it back restored. There's a couple of boat restore facilities that are represented here and at the marinas nearby, Done Right and Ecart. So it's still quite a rebuilding area. If you don't mind this, they're restoring a 38-foot replica of the Blue Nose right now. It's not ready for this year, but there was 8 of them made, from what I hear, and it's in restoration. It should be here next year. Within the next few years, I expect, and I've been building it up for about 4 or 5 years, is bring in a bunch of race boats, some very large, some on land for displays. It used to be a racing community here. It used to race right here in the downtown basin. Miss Super Test transmission was built here and tested. Miss America 10 was sunk out at the mouth of Ecart just before its last race, and so there's a lot of racing history here too. And I think the boaters like to see that too. If you'd look across the river, that little wee ski flea, there's a little wee fella running that, and his dad and grandfather raced here. So you'll have to get a picture of that.
So expect more out of Wambo, I'm assuming then.
Yeah. Every year we're building. Every year it's more things are being added. So each year you're going to have something new. Take the Bernadine, for instance. And it was great when he sent me an email and said, "Can I come to your show?" Definitely. So, yeah, every year there's something new added.
So next year, Blue Nose. Hopefully the Bernadine may come back. But I'm pretty sure you'll be here next year, right, Neil?
I don't know about that. It's still, there's a lot of work, a lot of stress, and if we have the support, keep the volunteer support up, well, we hope to get things going. I just like to keep, new things coming in, and if he comes back, that'd be great. But he's doing this on his own, so it's it's very difficult for him.
And what you do here, Neil, I'm sure is so appreciated. Thank you so much for your time. You have a great day, and beautiful weather out here too, eh?
Thank you for coming.
Okay, take care. Charlie Creaser, the captain of the Bernadine. Now, I understand, Charlie, that the Bernadine is one of the largest wooden boats still traveling in North America.
That's right. It's very old. The registration says 1912, and we know that it's been rebuilt several times. So whether there's any of the original are left or not, we have to go with the federal registration, and it does say 1912. And we're happy to tell people that it's probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest boat in Canada on the East Coast.
Now, how far have you come from to make it to Wallaceburg for Wambo?
Well, we came from Campobello Island, which is in the mouth of the Bay of Fundy. We traveled to New York City, up the Hudson River through the Erie Barge Canal into Lake Ontario, then ascended the Welland Canal, transited Lake Erie, and then through Lake Huron to Owen Sound. So I think it was 2,200 miles to Owen Sound, which was the turnaround, and now we're on the return leg, which was also inclusive of a stop in Wambo. So we're at 2,400 and some. By the time we get back, it'll be pretty close to 5,000 miles.
Now, what was the Bernadine used for originally in 1912 when it was built?
The Bernadine is a sardine fishing boat, which meant really it didn't catch the fish. It was an integral part of the process because they had to put the fish in a big container to transport them to the factory to be packed in the cans. So they used the boat actually as a way of moving the fish, but also as a way of adding the salt. As each ton of fish was put in the fish hold of the boat, salt was added, which helped firm the fish so that they were easy to handle when they got to the packing plant. So the boat fit into the whole process and was really part of the character of the sardine fishery.
When was the last time, do you think, that sardines were actually brought on this boat in the sense of people fishing for them and packing them and whatnot?
Well, the Atlantic sardines are really Atlantic herring, very small Atlantic herring. And the sardine fishery tapered off with the effects of overfishing the large spawn herring stocks. So there was a transition where this boat was used exclusively for transporting sardine-sized fish, which are as large as your finger. And then as the sardine fishery dissipated, then it got forced into carrying, or it was put on to carrying larger herring. And then the boat's activity changed because they would use the boat to transport the large herring to offshore foreign ships that they would load over the side. So it went through a couple of lives. Its last life was moving large-size herring and no sardines.
So I'm assuming this life is probably its most laid-back, content life.
Well, we figured if we were going to preserve a craft that was really job-specific to the Bay of Fundy and a real reflection of what the waterfront looked like in the Bay of Fundy, by preserving this one, we've managed that. It's a private venture, and we're hoping to expand on it to maybe establish a museum that would reflect the sardine fishery of the area that this boat worked in on Campobello Island in New Brunswick. So this is a way of generating that enthusiasm to do that project and to keep the boat in active service as a tourism ambassador and kind of floating pavilion. And it lets us use it to bring awareness to the area of New Brunswick that I come from.
Okay, now Charlie, I've heard rumors that the Bernadine wasn't the original name of this vessel.
No, that's correct. This boat had several owners, and it was originally owned by a company that was founded by Cornelius Van Horn and Lord Shaughnessy, who were the principal players in the Canadian Pacific Railroad, and they had their summer homes out in the East Coast, close to St. Andrews, and they established a company called the Canadian Sardine Company, Casarco, and this boat was originally named the Casarco #1, but when they sold their interest out of that company and it was bought by the Connors Brothers family, which established the Brunswick label, which I'm sure a lot of your viewers will recognize as a New Brunswick company, one of the men had an only daughter who was named Bernadine, hence the name was changed, and I think that happened in the 20s. So it's had that name for a long, long time.
Now, has the boat always been the same structure, the same shape?
No, this vessel, as you know, it's got two bows, but that happened because originally it was a sailing ship only, a schooner, and they have a very fancy fantail arrangement and a rudder, no engine. But when they had to put an engine in the boat, they had to remove that stern, pull the engine in, and then you have to put a very large piece of wood in the back of the boat so you can drill a hole through it to put the propeller shaft. To facilitate all that, that was done. And then to put the steering gear on the boat, you have to make the boat longer again to put the rudder. So hence, they came up with a simple solution of just making another bow. Hence, all of the sailing boats, or most of them that were converted to engine craft, got this type of arrangement on the back end. So one time my father told me a Newfoundlander said to him when they went to Newfoundland with a boat like this, "God, it must be fast. It's got a bow on both ends."
Now, did you have essentially clear sailing coming down here? Any exciting sea stories?
Well, initially it was started out with a 28-hour across the Gulf of Maine, which if you look at this map, it's from Campobello, it would be 28 hours out across the Gulf of Maine to Gloucester, Massachusetts. That was the first part of the voyage. I had a young man come with me from Buck Harbor, Maine, Patrick Hallisey, a great guy, really enthusiastic. So that was the beginning of it. It was a 28-hour open sea passage in June. We had following seas, and it was blowing 50 miles an hour, so it was kind of a toboggan ride all the way to Gloucester. But this boat can take heavy weather, and of course, as you know, when it's coming behind you, it makes it more fun because it's actually pushing you along. But other than that, we haven't had any really rough weather. I did give the boat a good test in rough water coming out of Oswego, New York, which I'm sure people that boat on the Great Lakes would understand, with a northwest wind blowing against Oswego and get pretty rough. So I had some blue water coming over the hardwood up front. It was quite spectacular.
So this whole boating thing, is this pretty much your life, or?
Well, I've been working on or around the water. My family, both my parents come from Nova Scotia. I was raised either near or on the water for my whole life. I spent some time in a working career as a merchant seaman on commercial boats. That's when I sailed on the Great Lakes for Imperial Oil. I was on a coastal Class A oil tanker, and we came from the East Coast to the Great Lakes. And also I went commercial fishing with my cousins in Nova Scotia. And I also have been trained as a deep-sea diver, and I worked Sable Island, different harbor projects around the Maritimes. So yeah, boating and on the water is a way of life, and it's a great way to meet people and to have some fun.
How do you feel about being the main draw at Wambo this year?
Well, it's a unique experience, and certainly people are really interested in the boat because it's wood and it's quite old. And we're meeting a lot of nice people here, and we're really impressed with some of the other boats and the workmanship and the upkeep on the more yacht style. We're kind of a little bit of a misfit, I think, in the fact that we're a workboat, but I'm sure at one time in this area of Ontario there were plenty of wooden workboats.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Charlie.
Yes, thank you. Enjoyed it.
Cruising around with Chip Gordon, the chairperson and general overseer of Wambo. Chip, how's it going today?
We're just having a great crowd, a lot of fun today, and we're just doing a great job here for all our people from the U.S. are coming in, all the cars and boats, and you know, we got a military show this year, which is just incredible, and it's Bren gun carriers, half tracks. I'll give you a little bit of history. This is the 19th year of Wambo. Was a vision by Pard Martin, and to bring more boats back to the community. It started out with cars and boats the first year, then the next year expanded to tractors, and then it just grew into motorcycles and fire trucks. So we've just expanded every year and had the vision of going bigger and better every year. And year 20, we're expecting to have another bigger year. So we're really pleased with, because I think we're now rated as Ontario's largest antique transportation show. Now, we've always been a lot of antique cars, but actually we're antique everything. So we've got airplane show, we got antique planes. We expect about 30 antique airplanes. You'll be seeing them fly over throughout the day, and they'll be landing just 3 miles out on King Street Extension. We got shuttle wagons providing all the transportation throughout and around Wambo event, take you anywhere you want. We got buses leaving from the museum. We've got over 15 entertainment groups, vendors all over. We got all kinds of vendors, so make your day at Wambo, and please come on out and see us, and we're going to have a great show.
And next year we're only expecting more, because next year Wambo itself will actually be an antique, eh?
That's right. It's 20 years next year for Wambo.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to getting to spend the rest of my day here, and especially looking forward to next year. You did a lot of work, Chip, and it's greatly appreciated around the community.
Appreciate that, and I think that all the committees and sponsors and partnerships certainly make the to come to the show, and there's no admission. You know, it takes a lot of work to get there. So there's a lot of thank yous that go out in the community too.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, Chip. I'm sure you're super busy today. You got to cruise around on your little Honda and go solve some crises and whatnot, eh?
Well, as I said, we always say, you'll never take us alive.
Well, thanks for your time, Chip. Take care.
Thanks so very much. Thank you very much.
I am here with Bill Namick, his son Dorian, and Bill Parney. Now, Bill Parney actually has a special VIP pass into Wambo this year. Can you guys tell us a little about that?
Yeah, well, we were really happy to have you, you know, come here and win that VIP tour. Will gets all the benefits of Wambo. Wambo was you know, delighted to sponsor a program to help a fireman who was terminally ill. We went through this, and we put as a package deal to be auctioned off to raise funds for the firemen. So Will, your who was it? Your son-in-law who works for the fire department bought the package, and yeah. So we owe Will a VIP tour. Will gets to go on the cruise last night, and you get an airplane ride, and you get a boat tour today as well. And so we're just glad to have you on board. Will, I might also add, it was formerly the counselor for Ridgetown as well, and he's retired. So glad to have you aboard, Will. And Will and I have got to know each other over the years, and through Chip. We've become good friends too, haven't we? Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now, why are you at Wambo today?
I'm here to enjoy the sights, the festivities, mainly the cars, and the boats are a big attraction, especially for the kids. They really enjoyed themselves on the Bernadine.
Now, are you from Wallaceburg, or?
I just recently moved to Wallaceburg there, and I can't believe it for a small town. There's quite an impact of people and festivities, and as I said, it's just great for the kids.
Oh, so I'm so happy you enjoy the community. Anything else you'd like to mention about Wambo?
No, the fact that I hope everybody had a good time, and it's beautiful weather out here for it, and I couldn't ask for a better time with the children.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I am here with Chuck, who is all the way from Buffalo, New York. Chuck, why'd you make the big trip?
Came down to see the cars.
Came down to see Wambo in the big city of Wallaceburg?
Yes, we did.
And what's your first impression so far?
I'm very impressed. The community's very nice, and the car show is great so far.
Excellent. And everybody should know this big tall guy beside me. This is Mr. Mayor Randy Hope. Randy, what do you think about the turnout?
Well, I think the turnout, number one, seeing as many people walking downtown is great, but also to see the number of vehicles that are here. I see there's increase about vehicles that are lined up along the streets, and even the boats. I mean, the nice part is, and I must say, I've only been here for probably about 20 minutes and heard the issue about the speed limit on the waterway, and people want to see that gone and go to the wake so that people can get here quicker. So, I mean, we have to listen very closely what the community is telling us during these events.
Well, it's awesome that you're here to be able to wander around and get some input from the community.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I mean, people recognize me even though I still have a hat on to try to keep this... Not incognito, just more relaxed and like everyone else. I mean, I drive my vehicle too. I brought my vet here today, so, you know, trying to support the car classics and the cars issues that are going on in our communities. But I think it's very important just to see so many people out walking our streets, visiting our stores, and just talking. Friendship.
Wonderful. Will you make sure you give Chuck the grand tour of the rest of Chatham-Kent when he's down here this weekend?
Oh, definitely. We plan on making sure we get around because Chuck likes the old vehicles, especially the old trucks. Every time we stop by a truck, he wants to take a look at it. So it's important to show what Chatham-Kent has to offer, and it's nice to have friends down visiting for the first time.
Well, I'm happy you're in such a nice, warm community, and you've got perfect weather to look at all these cars today. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
What is your favorite thing about Wambo this year?
I say all the new cars that are coming out, all the new trucks, just the people getting out for community of Wallaceburg. Seeing Wallaceburg finally do some good.
Pretty good turnout, eh?
Yes, excellent, excellent turnout. Beautiful day today. All the lovely boats here too behind us.
And I understand you actually brought in a vehicle. What'd you bring in?
1947 Ford pickup.
Beautiful. What color?
It's Greenfield green.
Getting a lot of lookers at it?
Yeah, quite a few. I took it back to original frame-off restoration, and it looks real good.
Wonderful. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
I am here with Bill Nemick, Director Secretary of Wambo. And I'm also here with Dave from Old King Cole Railroads. Bill, anything special about Wambo this year?
Yeah, we always try to promote rail safety, and rail safety and the sponsorship of Canadian National is really good for the entire Wambo family. We try to promote rail safety and safety in all aspects, both with boating and the power squadron and in many aspects. So we work with many functions of the community to try and do things for children and do things for all families alike throughout Wambo.
Now, I understand this exhibit must be pretty close to your heart, as you did work for CN Railroad for quite a few years.
Yes, I just finished my retirement with Canadian National, but my career is still ongoing in many other aspects, especially with rail safety. And yeah, what can I say? There's so many things that I don't want to give up on, and this is one that is the love of my life.
Now, either of you, do you guys know what Wambo actually stands for?
I guess I should. Well, you should. Yes, it's Wallaceburg Antique Motor and Boat Outing. Yeah.
Excellent. Anything we can expect this year, next year?
Next year, we're looking at growing again, making things bigger and better. We're hoping to extend it if we possibly can, and that's all within the committee work. The enthusiasm is there, the volunteerism is there. We look at the entire function and then we try to choreograph and make little, correct things. I'm looking forward to all managers meeting me with us on the 16th of August. We'll do a wrap-up of the show, and we try to take all the things that didn't go right with the show and try and make it better. We listen to the people out there. We try to hear what they like and what they don't like, and yet we try to choreograph it so it was in the bylaws of Wambo.
Now, I also do understand, I heard that you mentioned earlier you had quite an enlightening experience with one of your volunteers. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. As you know, the Wambo, we work hours and hours at this, and I started yesterday morning at 6:30 this morning, 6:30 yesterday morning, and it was a 1:30 last night after the refreshment tent, and there was beer cups all over the place. And I know I got to start again this morning at 6, which I did. And out of the blue, we had a young fella come to me, and he says, I have a bit of a sleep problem. Do you mind if I come in and help clean your beer tent up for you? And there was like a whole acre of and this man cleaned it all up. We had it ready for breakfast at 8 o'clock this morning. So sometimes there's a little angel out there, and I duly noted this man's name. I'm definitely going to make sure that he gets recognition for the work that he's done. But that's the beauty of Wambo. That's the enthusiasm that I want to talk about and really say this is what drives you and fuels you to keep it going.
Now, speaking of enthusiasm, Dave, what's this behind us?
Well, we got a mobile train display that we take around different events, and this is our second year at Wambo. We really appreciate coming back again this year because we had a great time last year. So we've got 6 independent lines of trains that are running on 4 levels of track, and the accessories are all operated by push buttons, so it's for kids and adults, like from 1 year of age right up to 101. And we seem to get a lot of, great smiles and a lot of fun laughs out of it. So it's unusual. It seems to take a lot less time to set up than we did in the past, and I don't know what else to say.
Now, I've noticed there is a great link, though, with your little train station and something that's really close to Bill's heart. I've noticed the Operation Lifesaver flyers, Bill.
Yes, I'm an Operation Lifesaver presenter for this area as well, and I do presentations to schools and talk about rail safety. And Wambo's been a big part of that. Canadian Nationals help me with this, and they come back as a corporate sponsor for Wambo. And we try to do everything we possibly can. So yeah, that is very much, and hopefully we can develop a little bit more of a railway display next year. There's some very good optimism work in the plans for next year.
And next year, hopefully we'll see you back here, Dave, and maybe some big trains next year too, eh?
Yes, I love it. I love to see the real ones come here.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for your time. You have a great day here at Wambo.
Thanks very much.
Dorian, what's your favorite thing about Wambo?
What I like about Wambo is that they bring in a whole bunch of neat cars, and they have a whole bunch of toys and stuff for kids, and they put out food courts, and they have a lot of fun stuff.
So pretty much everything, eh?
Yeah. The boats, the trucks, and the cars.
And what do you like?
I like the boats and mostly the museum, but I like all the good food and stuff.
You guys having lots of fun here today?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the fire engine over there that gets to squirt in the water. Gets to squirt the water over there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. If you were to explain Wambo to someone from out of town, someone from another area, or even if you just wanted to tell them your most favorite things about Wambo, what do you think you would say?
It's all about the antique cars, the boats, the motorcycles, just the town getting together and everybody being here and having fun.
Awesome. Is this your first time coming?
Nope, I've been here probably the last 10 years.
And I'm assuming you'll probably be here for the next 10, eh?
Hopefully.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed taking a tour with us through historic downtown Wallaceburg for the 19th annual Wambo Festival. This is April with My CK Special Events at TV Coach-A-Co.